so I had been before. I love all the classes. It was pretty much what I was expecting. It was nice to see people's faces again. And the keynote speakers were awesome. So, yeah.
I'd probably say the same thing. It was bigger, I agree with you, Kaylee, than what I was expecting, but it was nice to see everybody unmasked and being able to interact. The venue was amazing. I thought it was really great. And the speakers were awesome, and so many classes. I mean, the amount that you could choose from was just amazing.
Yeah,
It was
so
like,
let them know kind of the formatting of how they go through that selection of topic versus class.
I have no idea how they go through that selection. How do I go through it?
Not corporate, but as an agent, when you go to select your classes and about the app and things like that.
Yes, the app was cool because it gave you the schedule every single day and what classes were available and where they were. And a lot of the classes were repeated, so if there was one you wanted to take, like on a Wednesday, you could go back and take it on Thursday if there was something else. So I just went through the whole schedule, actually Andrea and I did, and picked the classes that we felt would most benefit our business and kind of focused on those.
But one thing I did learn that still kind of gets me is this guy was a speaker, one of the speakers.
Alex. Was it Alex?
I can't remember his name, but he was saying how he chooses, were you in that class? He chooses if he wants to do a listing. Like if he's in a listing appointment, he says, well, if I choose to list your house.
Yeah, so
And
what he was saying is,
that, you know?
as much as the client is interviewing you, you're interviewing
Give it to me,
them.
I want it. I'm not going to choose. But no, that's what he's saying is I choose, you know, if I choose, and that's something that, you know, he's successful at, and I guess it's something to work on. And I can't imagine saying that though. Well, if I choose to,
What your anticipation going into that panel was, and one of your biggest takeaways from being on the panel.
So the name of the panel, it was Competitive Edge. It was another real estate broker from, I believe, Florida, and then another commercial broker from, I think, Pennsylvania, something like that. And then, yeah, it was about basically just owning your competitive edge. Talked about listing presentations, how to maintain buyers, you know, what's your secret sauce, how are you competitive, and things like that. It was probably one of the coolest things I've ever done, honestly. I mean, at first, I don't really public speak too much other than, you know, you guys here in the office, but it was a little nerve-wracking because at the beginning I looked behind, there's probably a good 30 people, and then right when I went up, there was like over a good 100 people, so my heart started racing a little bit. And, but yeah, after really I got the first few words out, it was just kind of like clockwork. I mean, it was just a lot easier, and yeah, it was great. And another huge takeaway from that was just really trying to work smarter, not harder, and just seeing all the different, you know, ways that other agents go about utilizing all their time to the fullest. And another thing too is that you know, it opens up your perspective when, you know, you see other top agents and, you know, you think that you're doing solid, but then they do twice, 3 times as much as you, and it kind of opens up your perspective and just saying like, wow. And just, you know, that always, I'm a pretty competitive person, you know, seeing that just kind of drives me like, okay, well, that's possible. If they could do it, then why can't I do it? And so that was pretty neat to see. And yeah, another huge thing was, you know, before going on the panel, I remember the moderator told me, he's like, don't be humble. And I was like, okay, you know, but I just noticed that's one thing that I took away as well, is that, you know, you have to own your value, and, you know, you can't be afraid to not be braggadocious, but, you know, just tell them your accomplishments, tell them your numbers, and, you know, put your foot in the ground when you say it, and say it with your chest. And so that was another huge takeaway from it as well. And yeah, it was fun. I'm excited to do it again, and yeah, it was a blast.
With that, Brian Pitt talked to him, and then Maurice was able to do an interview, so I figured he could tell you guys a little bit about that.
Well, shout out Jordan. You know, he kind of threw my name out there, gave me a little shout out, and, you know, they started asking questions, and what they did is they're doing like interviews and just asking questions for like Century 21 University for like the new agents, and, you know, how to hit the ground running, like, you know, quickly. And, you know, they just asked me questions of, you know, how you're able to do that. And I kind of told them, like, honestly, one, like, our brokerage is totally different than other Century 21s. They don't have a team like we do. So, you know, I put in the team, you know, like we have Trissa, listings departments, like other offices at Century 21 don't have that luxury. You know, there's people asking Jordan, you know, when they should hire a transaction coordinator. He's just like,
That
well,
was one funny thing about, the conference was, I didn't know how, I mean, from the panel, it seemed like a lot of the agents that were asking questions that I was up there with, that their office ran differently than ours, and they're like, when is it time for, you to get a transaction coordinator or listing coordinator when you feel like you're too busy to do it? And I'm like, well, we have that already, So that was neat, yeah.
Actually, what Jordan said on the panel was he's got a Patricia, and I don't think anybody else in the room knew what a Patricia was.
We know, as long as we know.
you guys gotta get you on.
We all know.
It's a new Siri.
Yeah, but I blamed it on the team and kind of like, door knocking. I told them I wasn't even from the area that I started real estate in, and, just kind of talking to everybody, people equal territory, kind of went through my 8 steps, and that was like a 30 to 45 minute, interview, and, it's all because networking, because I went, that wasn't scheduled or anything, I wasn't expecting that, it was just because I was there, so it was cool to see other offices, like deep, I mean, like 50 to 100 agents deep, and then us are like kind of like 15, like, it'd be cool next year to see us be deep like that as well, because like, we're honestly, we're whooping a lot of the other offices' asses, so like, we should be there, because like, you go to like the top 25, and like, we're the top 25 office in the world at Century 21, and that's like a big accomplishment, so, yeah, I just kind of blended it, around the office. I even give Kristen a shout out for giving my first deal, just being around certain people in the office, coming to the office, being around people who motivate you. That's kind of what I talk about.
How about you tell them the formatting of what you observed for the 3-day conference?
So it's pretty neat just because right when you get there, they give you go check in with your badge, and then literally on the back of your badge, it'll kind of lay out what they're doing every single day. And I like the way they format it because there's always, they usually do all the classes, earlier in the day, and then there's always like a kind of smaller event afterwards. And they kind of build up to the last day and have a big kind of final finale kickoff party. Another neat thing is that give you free lunch, free breakfast as well, and it's just, they really have everything set up to a T down there, and it's neat as well just because there's many different classes that, go from all over the place, whether it's, figuring out, lead generation, building your business, want to become a broker, I mean, there's just every different type of class that there is, and so it's nice that you have the flexibility to choose from all of them just because if you're in real estate, I mean, there's at least bound to be a couple classes a day that are going to fit within, what you're looking for, and so, yeah, it's a really neat event. I mean, I highly suggest everyone goes. We're going to Florida next year, right? And so, it's going to be fun.
So, Keely, tell us about the final night at the Omni.
What about it?
We are not 21 anymore.
No. But what was cool about that, though, they have food and we dress up or whatever. But like Mike Needler, he's walking around. Anybody can go up and talk to him and take pictures. And I didn't, but I could see him doing that. Or he got on the dance floor a little bit, and so it doesn't feel too like you're all one,
Or stuffy.
Or yeah.
Like Sunday dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us maybe somebody that you had met that you might consider doing business with, not the other.
I could tell you who I wouldn't do business with. No, it's a great way because, I mean, so when we have our clients that are moving to Florida or other states and we're kind of blindly just referring them to another Century 21 agent over there. So the event is nice in the fact that we can put faces and like talk to them. And that way we know that when we're sending them to whatever area that, their reviews aren't lies, but yeah.
Yeah, the power of the network. Yeah, thank you. Kim, how about you tell them we were having lunch, and then, everybody always seems so unassuming because you don't know what their stats are, who they are, what they are, but who had met at the conference.
So we met the gentleman that has the master's license for South America. So based out of Costa Rica, and he has 22 offices.
66, used to have 80.
No, used to have 66, but has 22.
22 now.
22 now, and also a title company. Anyway, I mean, just regular he was there with a couple of other people and just chatting, and it was really interesting, the different perspective coming from a foreign country, Costa Rica. But yeah, it was amazing
Yeah.
just to hear his story, and applied for the master's license, and now he has the offices.
And he's from Costa Rica, but what was even more interesting as we talked to him more, that he actually worked in Seattle for Microsoft.
He did. And he was very fluent in English. I mean, Costa Rica's English speaking, but a lot of them have that real thick accent. Yeah. So no, he very well spoken.